Our last speaker is the president of the Stop the War Coalition. He's somebody people always say he needs no introduction, but actually we could probably spend a very long time introducing him because of all the many good things that he does and all the many things he campaigns over. But I'd like you to put your hands together now for Tony Benn.
I think it must be to emphasise the first point I was going to make, to congratulate the Stop the War Coalition on organising this meeting and on the work that they do over the years to bring us towards a more peaceful solution of the world's problems. I cannot imagine a more important work than the work done by the Stop the War Coalition, though it is referred to the big demonstration against the Iraq War, but not just that, on every issue. The Stop the War Coalition has a constructive point to make, puts it honestly, has links with other countries, and in my opinion, does more good for Britain in the world than the British government. So and also, I think I must mention the campaign for nuclear disarmament, because the role of nuclear weapons in the world is becoming more and more important, and I'm very pleased to see the Americans have negotiated a new settlement with Iran, which has avoided a danger of a conflict there, and we go on saying we must have nuclear weapons as a deterrent, and then telling everybody else they mustn't have them. And there is an element of hypocrisy about that, which I think we ought to turn our minds to. Because our nuclear weapons, we are told, is as a deterrent. Now, a deterrent sounds very innocent. You only use it if you have to. But what it means is that if you feel threatened, you will use your nuclear weapons first to destroy the country that was threatening you. And therefore, the word deterrent means that British governments would, in theory at any rate, be ready to press the nuclear button before any attack was made upon us or our vital interests. And I cannot imagine any Prime Minister who would be ready to do that, destroy millions of lives, to avert a threat to this country. So there's an element of hypocrisy about our present nuclear policy, and I think we need to give full support to the campaign for nuclear disarmament. Having said that, as I get older, my mind turns to the moral question of peace. Because if you look at the way the world is run and the way that our foreign policy is run, it's based on the idea you can conscript young people, put them in uniform, send them abroad, many of them killed, and when they're killed, we're told that they have devoted their lives to the cause. They've given their lives. Well, actually, if you're killed in Afghanistan, you haven't given your life, you've been shot by somebody who doesn't think you should be there. And if you shoot a British soldier, you create a widow and orphans. And then the British soldiers in Afghanistan, if they shoot an Afghan, they are creating an Afghan widow and an Afghan orphan. And the more you think about war, the more you realize it eats people's morality up and gives them the impression that what they're doing is somehow moral. And that is made worse, I think, by the way we celebrate peace. The peace celebrations in November in Whitehall, which I watched on television, are more and more frightening as an example of people in uniform glorifying war. And, another example, you may have heard on the news today that soil from the Somme, where so many people died in the First World War, soil is being brought here to go into a memorial garden in the barracks near Buckingham Palace. And you realise that war just gets hold of you. And indeed, if you believe in peace, you have to be candid about it. You're going to be subject to very bitter attack by people who believe in war. No one should be under any illusion about that. There is a strong commitment to war as a deliberate instrument of policy, and that has to be reversed and has to be defeated, and that's what the Stop the War movement and the campaign for nuclear disarmament are all about. Because I do believe that in the heart of everybody is a desire for peace. And peace does not mean having another war where our soldiers can give their lives. It means stopping war, finding alternatives to war, using statesmanship to bring about negotiations between two sides to see if there's a common ground, just as happened in Northern Ireland at the time of the peace process. And these are the jobs which we have to take on board as the peace movement now, to turn our mind to ending international conflict by sensible initiatives of negotiation, and ending the culture of war in our country by turning on those, like the newspapers that sell newspapers because of war, weak leaders who think a war will make them strong, turning on all those influences which lead us to believe that war is the answer to our problems, which it is not. And that is what we are about. And I congratulate the Stop the War movement for having done so much to bring these factors into the foreground in our domestic debate. Thank you for coming. Good luck.
Okay, well, that was a great ending to what I think has been a really good day. I'd like to thank all the speakers on the platform this afternoon, all the speakers during the day. There's been rather a lot. We can go back to 10 o'clock this morning. All of you for coming and contributing and making it a successful day. I've certainly learned a huge amount. And I'd just like to thank, on behalf of myself and Jeremy Corbyn, our chair, from Stop the War, to thank everybody for all the work that you do, and to make sure that what we bring out of this conference is that we do continue to build the movement, because we've done very, very well over Syria, but as we know, there's still many wars going on and many wars ahead. Thank you very much. Safe journey.